We're going to begin this hour with Oprah. There's only one. In her new book, she shares her wisdom about the secrets to greater happiness. According to a recent survey, listen to this number, only 25% of Americans say they are very happy. What? To find out what that means to be happy, Oprah collaborated with Arthur C. Brooks, a Harvard professor who studies and teaches the science of happiness. I want to know what the C stands for, Arthur Brooks. Their book is called Build the Life You Want, The Art and Science of Getting Happier. In it, they share practical advice on how to change your life for the better. Oprah and Arthur C. Brooks, what does the C stand for?
The C stands for Charles. I don't know why I put it in there, but there you go.
Well, it stands out. So I want to start with you, Arthur, because people would think you must be a naturally happy person.
Yeah.
And in your book, I was surprised to see that, nope, you say normally you can be gloomy and anxious, and that even your wife said, after all this research, maybe you need to follow some of your own research.
Yeah.
I thought that was a funny line.
I know. She's pretty funny. My wife is a naturally very happy person, but the truth is that I study happiness because I want to be a happier person. I became a social scientist to learn about myself. It's me-search rather than research, and that was a really important thing. Then over the past 30 years, I haven't cracked the code entirely, but Oprah and I have put together a handbook, an owner's manual for emotional self-management. It's worked for me.
I remember when Oprah first discovered you, Arthur. You want to tell that story?
Well, it was during the pandemic,
Yes.
and, you know, I didn't leave home for 322 days.
Yes.
And so I was reading The Atlantic and reading his column and being inspired and fortified by every week, every Thursday, there was another drop, and had a conversation with him. And afterwards, I thought, wow, this is the kind of guy that if I was still doing the show, we would be calling him every day to be an expert on every subject. Then I invited him over for dinner. Best dinner guest ever.
I'll bet.
Because you can probe his brain on happiness. And I thought, you know, we should do something together. And so now we are.
Yeah.
So only 25% of Americans say they're very happy.
Right.
But a premise of the book is that happiness doesn't just happen.
Right.
It's something you got to work on, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Most people think that the biggest mistake people make about happiness is they think it's a feeling, and they're waiting for the feeling to kind of come to them, like a dove coming to sit on your shoulder. It doesn't work that way at all. People have feelings of happiness, but that's evidence of happiness. You need to work on it. It's a combination of enjoyment, satisfaction, and purpose. And all of those things we can understand and we can work on, make it a project. And that's what we're talking about.
I first started getting really interested in the subject itself of happiness because at the end of every show, I would sit with the audience and I would have conversations with them. It was my own focus group for 25 years. And I would always ask people, what do you really want? What do you really want? And people would always say, I just want to be happy. And then I would say, what does that look like?
You take it one step further, and then
what does
they
it
couldn't
look
answer,
like?
yeah.
And most people could not answer it.
Right.
You know, it's an audience made up of mostly women, and many times they would say, well, you know, I want my kids to be happy. Okay, so now your kids are out of the house, then what? What does it look like for you?
Yeah.
So
Well, Oprah, let me ask you this. What does happiness look like for you now versus, let's say, 30 years ago? I mean, what research did you do while collaborating on this project?
Well, happiness for me now is more a level of contentment and peace of mind and satisfaction coming from purpose and meaning that I have in my life. So it used to be doing.
Yeah.
It used to be a schedule that, I was just saying to somebody this morning, a schedule that if there was a space in the day, it would be filled. If there was an hour.
Because you wanted to be productive.
Yeah, it was being productive and always working.
But I like what you say, though, because people, you get the statistics, and it shows that happiness is down. So what do we do? And there's a thing in the book, Arthur, where you say you can't change the world, but you can change how you experience. So how can we be happier?
This is super important because a lot of people think that I can't be, Oprah and I talk about this in the book a lot. I can't be happy until something changes. I can't be happy until my marriage is better. I can't be happy until something resolved in my health.
I can't be happy until I lose weight.
Until my finances sort themselves out. People say this all the time, and the whole point is you can be happier no matter what's going on in your life. And and the way to do it is to understand the components of happiness and to work on them, and then to put together a portfolio. Look, in this book, we have this this happiness 401k. We have the things that you need to be investing in every single day. Your faith, your family, your real friends, not your deal friends. And everybody knows the difference between the two.
Yes.
And dedicating your work, no matter what you're doing, offering it up as service to other people. And we walk step by step about what the science says, about how to understand this point, how to practice these things, how to teach them to other people. So this is a step-by-step approach using science and real stories from real people's lives, by the way, including our lives in this book.
Yeah,
There's a
because you
part-
say happiness is not a destination, it's a direction.
Yeah.
Like that.
And that's why we call it the art and science of being happier,
Right.
not just being
Happier.
happy.
There's an interesting passage in the book, Oprah, where you talk about a period in your life when you were literally on trial, not criminal trial, it was a lawsuit. You said something about hamburgers, the beef producers were suing you, and it was a 6-week trial. It's exhausting, it's demanding, there are stakes involved, and yet you write, you had reason to be happy. How do you find that reason?
Well, one of the things that, when I'm going through any trial is being able to do, I was doing this when I didn't even know it was called metacognition. He talks about metacognition in the book. When you can separate the circumstances of what's going on from what is really going on in here. You can feel the feeling and let the space between the feeling and you allow you to be objective about that's happening out there and I am here. So that metacognition, which is really thinking about the thinking, is really helpful. And for me, it always goes back to gratitude.
Yes.
Gratitude.
Yes.
Oprah, I want to shift gears a little bit and turn to the Hawaii wildfires and the efforts to help those in need. The People's Fund of Maui was created by you and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, in which you both poured time, effort, and millions to kick it off yourselves, yet and still, it faced online criticism. I want to give you the opportunity to kind of give your thoughts on that.
Well, this is a really great point about being happier in the midst of an onslaught of being terrorized and vilified online. I will say this, I came out of this experience, I was just saying this to Arthur this morning, with so much more compassion for young kids, because I was thinking, what if I didn't really know who I am? What if I didn't have the assurance of Invictus, that I am the master of my own fate and the captain of my soul? If
It would have taken you down.
It would have taken. It will take you out. So all of the online, being
Slander and
slammed,
attacks.
lies, conspiracy theories, really took the focus off of what was the most important thing, and that was the people of Maui. So this idea came about because, as you know, when you were there, Tony, I was on the ground talking to lots of people, trying to figure out how do I best help. And in the beginning, it was just, material things, dropping off generators and towels. And then I started talking to people. People really wanted their own agency. Gayle's son, Will, sent me an article about Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton, in 2017, during the wildfires in Gatlinburg, started a People's Fund. She called it My People's Fund. She had a concert. She raised $12.5 million and then directly gave it to the people, $1,000 a month. I thought, whoa, that's the idea. So
Getting the money into the hands of the people.
Directly into the hands of the people. So to set up the infrastructure for that, The Rock and his team and my team, we were literally on I don't know how many Zooms to set up the infrastructure for the verification process to be able to drop money into people's accounts. And we thought, because both of us have given to charities our whole life. I've been giving to charity since my first paycheck, a tither.
And still do that.
And
Yes,
still
yes,
do
yes.
that. Okay. So we thought starting the fund with $10 million would be a great idea, because any of us who've ever been to any benefit, you go to a benefit and somebody gives $10 million, that's called a good night.
Right.
So we thought $10 million would start off the fund, we'll do what Dolly did, get other people to give money, and then we'll put it directly into the people's bank accounts. I was so excited. I was so excited about it.
It's still a good idea.
And then I got up the next morning.
You still should be.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I got up the next morning and I saw all of this vitriol and I was like, whoa, what happened here? So this is what I want to say. I want to say that, I think in the beginning, so many people were calling, asking, where do we give our money to? So I thought, I'm going to give people a place to give. We're going to create something. And I still think it's a really strong idea.
Yeah.
Dolly Parton was right. Putting money directly into the hands of the people is a significant thing. And the model that's been created, I will say that as of today, 2,200 people have been cleared and verified. And those people are going to get a notice from the People Fund of Maui and going to have the money.
And it's
put into
working.
their
It
bank
made me
account.
deeply mad. It made you deeply sad.
Made me sad that
and I'm
we're at
wondering
this
how you're
state in
coping
our
with that.
country,
Yes.
you know?
Right.
Yeah.
No, everything leads to this kind of polarization, even
Yep.
even serving other people. But here's the point. Here's Oprah's point. If you take your time, your money, your resources, your life, and you give the love that other people need, especially in their times of need, that is the secret of happiness.
Yeah.
Because happiness is love.
That's right.
Happiness
is
is
love,
love.
yeah.
Thank you, Arthur.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Happiness is love. Full
Thank you,
stop.
Arthur. Thank you, Oprah. Oprah said she wore blue today, Arthur, to match the cover of the book. All right. Build the Life You Want's on sale now wherever you like to buy your book.